Welcome to episode 66 of Talking Prisoner. My name's Matt Batten. I'm your host and creator of this podcast. Episode 66 is a part of our true crime series where we delve into the lives of true crime identities who spent time in jail and to see what it was really like. My guest today was a former president of an outlaw motorcycle club, one of the most feared clubs in Australia, called the Comancheros. He spent time in Australia's notorious Pentridge Prison, and he was also jailed for heroin trafficking. He survived a car bombing which played out like a scene from Casino with Robert De Niro. He's an author, and he's my guest today. Welcome to Talking Prisoner, Jay Malkoun. Good to see you, man.
Thanks for having me.
I've been so excited about this interview. I really have. Before we start, the book, you're an author. It's called The Consultant.
Yeah.
I read a lot of books, and sometimes they take me weeks to get through. This book took me 2 nights. It is the most unbelievable book. It's available everywhere, and you can't put it down.
Thank you.
2 nights. You've got this knack where you take someone into your life. You feel like you're actually there.
It's a huge
amazing
compliment.
book.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, I've got pages folded everywhere. There's so much stuff I want to get through. Now, before we start, I just want to read a quote in your book by your dear mum, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
You and your dad. Okay, so you said you and Dad must have been distracted when you conceived me. I joked, and your mum said, "Oh yes, that's probably from the pills I took to abort you." She said, "Real matter of fact, we could not afford another child, and your father was highly stressed, so I tried to abort you, but you're a fighter and refused to die. I tried for a month to stop the pregnancy, but you just hung on, and so here we are." Man, I've learned a lot about you over the last few weeks. I knew a lot about you back in the day, and that's just so true of you. You're a natural-born fighter. You refuse to stop. You've got this amazing drive in you that I've not seen in anyone before, which I'll get to shortly. But where does it come from?
No idea. Look, we grew up in a very hectic environment. When we were children, it wasn't just us; it was everybody. It was the whole suburb was housing commission. Everyone struggled, and
that was in Reservoir. Yeah.
Reservoir, yeah. Everybody fought for what they had and fought to keep it. It was just because I was the youngest of 4 boys, so I observed a lot of their behaviour growing up and their battles and their successes and failures, and you learn from that.
Yeah,
you take a lot on visually, and you adopt things that are successful. You learn your own methods, and you just carry on the way you want to carry on. I chose to carry on hard and fast.
And as a child, you were like that?
Always.
Was from really early?
Well, I think realistically, just on reflection, it's probably because I was the youngest boy. If I was the first boy, it would have been, I assume, a bit different. Because I was the youngest of 4, and the 3 eldest were always, being a little bit naughty. And they were always fighting and carrying on. So, being the youngest, I was protected. So, I grew into certain skills and picked up some certain habits by observing them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
You just see things that you like and things that you don't like, and you adopt what you want and discard what you don't want. That was my benefit, having 3 older brothers.
Yeah. And did they look after you as a young child?
They punched the fuck out of me daily. They beat the shit out of me, bro. But I was cheeky.
Yeah.
I mean, that was until I was about 9. Then they couldn't catch me because I could run.
Yeah, you're fast.
No wonder I could fucking run.
Yeah.
I had 3 hectic brothers that wanted to use me as a punching bag. We'd go to take one down. They'd want to practice their kicks on me. It's hilarious. Now that I think back. But that all turned around. Probably by the time I was 14, I was punching back pretty good.
Yeah.
You learn skills from that.
You looked after yourself.
Well, you had no choice. We got 3 older brothers that just want to take advantage of you. You got to defend yourself.
Yeah.
You just take those skills on through life.
Yeah.
But the beauty is that we had our parents were really, really devout Christians, so we also had moral compass. But that word's been coming up a lot lately. But
moral compass.
Yeah. So we knew right from wrong and good from bad, and what we could do and what we shouldn't do. So it's not like we're just playing up and breaking into houses and fucking right up. We're just playing up as little naughty boys.
Yeah.
That's all.
Gary Jubilant, so one of Australia's most celebrated homicide detectives, now retired, obviously.
Yeah.
Said you are one of the most positive people that he's met, and that's coming from a copper. But you've been a bikie president, you've been in jail, and here you got a famous cop saying that you're one of the most positive people that he's ever met.
I mean, look, I don't rate myself that way. I'm happy for him to say that. I do try not to hang on to any negativity. Yeah, you don't want to be weighed down by nonsense and bullshit and waste your time with some cunt that just fucking tooted his horn or wants to have a bit of road rage. Like,
what about when you were younger, though?
I'd jump out the car and knock him straight out, bro. I got arrested for that a few times. But you had more time when you were younger.
Yeah,
you can afford to, argue in the street or punch on, or you want to, We're getting a bit older now. We haven't got time for nonsense. So we just try and be positive out of, every aspect of our lives. And when there's negativity, it's just to try and diffuse it and move on. I do anyway. How everyone else chooses to live, it's up to them.
Yeah.
Even in valuing people, you come across people that have got some great attributes and they have some negative attributes. You need to balance it out. Like, does it work for you? If it does, then just see the goodness in them.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the badness.
And and I'll get to it shortly. That was one thing I also learned about you is you did. I think it was 10 years jail. You did. Most people come out bitter, twisted, really annoyed with the world. I think your quote was, I did some push-ups, read some books, ate some food, and came home.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's you never hear anyone talk like that.
Yeah. Look, jail's a strange. Look, you can really. If you get caught up in the system and you succumb to the system, you're fucked.
Yeah.
This is the problem with a lot of prisoners. Unfortunately, they succumb to the system. They look to the screws for direction, to be fed, to be clothed, and then they become institutionalized. Whereas my brother and I, we fucking hated the screws, and we expressed that daily, and they hated us. So there was no grey area with us. It was black and white. We got nothing, and we asked for nothing. We took what we wanted.
Yeah.
Like we literally, my brother stole the screws refrigerator.
I've got that.
Under the cover of fucking daylight, bro. Do you know what they did? Nothing. They were terrified. We took their microwaves. We took everything off these cunts. And that's just the way but we earned that reputation as well. We battered the cunts.
Yeah.
We couldn't be accommodated in just about any prison other than Pentridge.
That was the only one.
Well, that suited us because it was close to our family. It didn't inconvenience our family. It's a dog of a jail, but it was convenient for our family. You got to do, you do your jail the best way you can for your loved ones. Or you can be selfish and just try and go to a country prison and play golf.
Yeah.
And, and then your parents have to drive 3 fucking hours and sit and fuck all that. We were happy to sit in a cell in Pentridge and see our parents once a week. It was convenient for them. So whenever they moved us, we moved ourselves back.
Yeah.
I think the longest we lasted was 7 weeks in another jail.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We played it, bro.
I mean, reading your book and listening to some podcasts you've done, I mean, I would say you and your brother effectively ran Pentridge.
No, we didn't run Pentridge at all. We ran our own race.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hectic people in jail, bro. A lot of really dangerous people. And they loved us. They loved us because we were very clear. We weren't grey. We were black and white, bro.
Yeah.
The grey ones you got to be suspicious of because even some of the hardest criminals are no good. They, when we first got locked up in '87 in Pentridge, there were 5 yards. They had a circle and they had yards going off the circle, and each yard would accommodate 100 prisoners. And there was 1 yard, yard 3. It had 3 prisoners in it, and that was the protection yard where they couldn't go in the mainstream because they lagged or they'd done something they shouldn't have done. That was the beginning of our sentence. They transported us to another fucking jail towards the end of our sentence, like 8 years later. And we went back, we had to come back through the system again. So we had to go back through D Division, which is like a remand. When we got there, yard 3 was now mainstream for me, my brother, and a handful of other prisoners. And the rest was protection and protection from protection.
Oh, wow.
So it all evolved. It all changed. Prisoners changed, the quality of prisoners changed, the way they did their jail changed. Everything changed. I don't know how it is now, thank fuck. But
Yeah. I want to go back just a little bit. So obviously you own nightclubs in your early 20s over in Perth.
Yeah.
Zuzu's, I think it was called.
Zuzu's had another one in Rockingham called, fuck, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
What was it called? That was a fucking shithole anyway.
So you're very successful at what you do. And I'm trying not to read too much from your book because I want people to go out and buy it and read it. But Jason Moran, who was a really serious player in the Melbourne Underworld, you heard that he wanted to put a bullet in you. He said,
he had a problem.
He had a problem with you. You don't know why. And you'd be the only person I'd say that would do this. That's flown to Melbourne to meet up with him. And you went up to him and said, "Hey, cunt, what's the actual issue?" Like, no one would ever do that to Jason. I mean, what happened there?
What happened was I was in Perth and an old friend of mine would ring me on a Saturday, say I was out again, and that Jason dropped your name. He wants to fucking put a hole in you. Who the fuck's Jason, bro? Like,
So you didn't know him at the time?
Oh, we knew. He shot a couple people in the leg. Like, who the fuck's Jason? Back then, we were all kids, right? Like, we didn't give a fuck. Anyway, so he called me about 3 or 4 times, and I got jack of it. So I said, fuck this. So I flew to Melbourne, and we went out Friday night to where they always catch up, which was Bombay Rock in Brunswick.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in the club. I said, where is this cunt? He's going, oh, he'll show up. Don't worry, he'll show up. He'll come up and stand next to me. I bet you doesn't even know who you are. And he'll start bagging you while you're there. And then about 20 minutes later, he showed up and he was over the other side of the room. And he goes, that's him there. And I couldn't be fucked waiting, so I just went and put it on him. You got a fucking problem. And he goes, oh, I'll show you, and ran down the stairs. So I looked at my mate and said, I don't know. So I ran after him and we punched on at the bottom of the stairs.
And Tony Mokbel was the
was there. He was the security there.
Yeah.
Turns out he was going to get his gun. Anyway, so then all the theatre started and all the bullshit. And I said to Horty, because my mates, true to form, all fucked off. Weak cunts. So I said to Horty, this cunt's going to get a bit. I said, have you got one in? He goes, yeah, I've got a shotty in the car. I said, go grab it. So he grabbed it and we put it behind the bench. But it didn't escalate.
Yeah.
It was like, because I was so confrontational and we both had reputations, it was just diffused. And over the years, I got to know Jason. He was a really good guy, man.
Yeah.
He's a really good guy. And, I mean, like, he wasn't as bad as people say he was. He would shoot you in the leg or shoot you in the belly, but he didn't shoot you in the head.
Yeah.
Which is important. When they fucked up when they didn't shoot Carl in the head.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we know now he created a lot of what went down with the...
Yeah, well, they should have. Anyway, that is what it is. But no, he was actually, Jason was a really good guy, a lot of respect for him. And, sadly, he's lost.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of people miss him, a lot of people love him, and his love for a
so
reason.
when you say that, a lot of people loved him and he was missed and he wasn't as, is that the media that perverts the course of justice, do you think?
Well,
where like even with yourself, and
yeah,
I know you used it to your advantage when you went into jail, which we'll talk about, but, they put a photo of you on the front page, but they're talking about another bikie club, but it's a photo of you, but it's not about you.
Do you know why they do that, bro? Because the other cunts don't rate.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. No, but listen, Jason, he's actually a really good guy, and I know grown men that cried when he passed. Like, he's actually really loved. So you think when you read all the stories, you think he would have been a bad killer. I don't know anyone he killed. I know that he, put a few bullets in a few legs.
Yeah.
But I mean, so fucking what?
Yeah.
Oh well.
And I remember the morning he died. I mean, I remember it. It was like such big, massive news in Melbourne.
Yeah,
like,
man,
it was crazy.
I really like Jason, and I was really saddened to see that he went.
Yeah. And do things change in jail when a figure like Jason Moran dies? Like, is there an imbalance inside when something like that happens on the outside?
Well, there's always teams in jail and there's teams outside of jail. So if he had his loyal team on the inside and there were opposition, they'd get stabbed. I mean, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to go on with it, bro. You can't be a pretend outlaw. You're either in it or you're out of it.
Yeah.
And if you're in it pretending, you're going to be a fucking victim, especially if you're incarcerated.
Yeah. So you got to be 100%.
All the way in, bro.
Yeah.
You got to get prepared to go right on with it.
Yeah.
A lot of people weren't. A lot of people end up fucking carved up, iron barred, throats cut.
Tony Mokbel. Do you know Tony?
I know Tony well.
Yeah.
Champion.
Yeah.
Fucking disgrace what they're doing to him.
That was one thing I did want to talk to you about. I don't know how much you can say about it, but Nicola Gobbo. I mean, this is...
What a fucking dog.
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking to someone that I'm going to interview soon in America from a crime family, and we were talking about this, and he said that that's unheard of, what a lawyer...
It's fucking outrageous,
Like, it's the first time it's ever happened in the world.
It's outrageous. Like, and it's Victoria. Victoria is renowned for not allowing that shit to happen. You know, you got Judge Vincent, he's all over this sort of shit. He doesn't allow that shit to happen. Judge Hampel, they don't tolerate this nonsense, and yet it's happened.
Yeah.
Tony's been in jail now for how long? He should have been let out years ago, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
It's outrageous. Even when they fucking deported him, they banged on some false charges of murder. It was all fucking bullshit. That was just to deport him. As soon as he got back, they dropped them all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the government. You can't fuck with the government. But there's rules of engagement. You got to abide by the rules, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
We break the law, you catch us, we go to jail. You know, you don't fucking make shit up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's crazy. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff happening, investigations and stuff, and why she did it. And what's
She did it
happening,
because she's a fucking fat dog that was fucking a few cops and wanted extra money. And she was probably high on drugs. Because you couldn't be sober and do that.
Yeah.
You couldn't be a lawyer, smart enough to become a fucking lawyer and stupid enough to become a snitch.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck does that work, mate?
Yeah, who does that?
Who does that?
Crazy.
But they were crazy times, though, back then. They were crazy. I mean, they weren't as crazy as the 80s, but they still were a little bit crazy. I mean...
Did it all sort of kick off when Alphonse Gangitano died? Is that when it all sort of... from my memory of...
No, before then, bro.
Before that?
Yeah. The cops knocked... they were doing a lot of nasty stuff. Really, the police are very strong, man. Like, you just can't... Honestly, you can't fuck with the police. You can't win. If you want to be an outlaw, go make your money, shut your fucking mouth, and get on with it. Try and be as discreet as possible, because if you put your head up too high, it's going to get cut.
You spent time obviously in Sydney and Melbourne. How does Sydney underworld people look at Melbourne? Like, is there a rivalry there?
No, it's not a rivalry. Look, if you look back, Melbourne used to be considered more dangerous than Sydney for a while, like with the underworld killings, when blokes were getting bowled all the time. And things have settled down in Melbourne a lot, and they've kicked off in Sydney. They have been for a while. I mean, and they're very serious people. Sydney now, you just don't fuck around there, bro. Like they don't talk. If you have an issue, they shoot first, talk later. It's proper.
Yeah.
And they're skilled. We're not just talking about guys that have got a gun. Ooh, I got a gun. These cunts have got fucking skills, mate. Can you imagine when they knocked that kid in the cafe? What was his name? Recently, the two boys from Sydney came down.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why his name escapes me.
Yeah.
Mate, they were running and shooting and got a headshot. Do you know how hard that is? That's a fucking skill, mate.
Yeah.
So that's typical of Sydney. There's not one or two people. They're all like that.
All of them.
They've all got hotties ready for action. They got their kits. Everything's prepped up. Like, honestly, very serious people.
Yeah.
You don't want to fuck around in Sydney. You will get shot.
Yeah.
What about the one in the city? Some kid got shot in the city at like 1 a.m. and they took off down the street, and he must have moved because they turned around and came back and put more holes in him in the fucking city and got away. Like, how many? You'd have to have such big balls
to do that.
Yeah, bro. And come back.
And obviously a lot's changed since you've been,
it's all
back
evolved,
then,
mate.
like technology and everything. I mean, it's a lot harder now.
It's a different game now. Like, I'm a dinosaur. When I was in Dubai, and when I first left Australia, I was in Dubai for about 2 years, and I was with one of the boys, Dax. He was the national president back then. I said, I'm going to head back for a minute. There's a few issues to resolve. And he said something. He goes, bro, it's not how it was 2 years ago. So what do you mean? He goes, it's changed so much. He said, you got to just take it easy a bit. Yeah. Don't dive in. Be a little bit careful.
Yeah.
And he was right. It evolved so quickly. Technology, skills, drive. You think, I've got drive. Poof.
Was there younger people that got drive like you?
Yeah, bro.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I've read a lot of books about true crime of all different people, and you stand out the most.
Well, it's probably because I got so much media coverage.
But I mean, with your drive and what you do, I mean, it's very rare.
I'm not alone, man. There's lots of very willing people. Yeah, lots of willing people.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't worry about the pop stars that are in the papers.
Pop stars.
Like, there's some proper serious people out there.
Yeah. I just want to go back to your arrest quickly, and I'm just going to read something from your book. I had big plans out in the water that day, but they didn't work out. That's life, I guess. Wake up in a penthouse, go to bed in a prison cell. In the blink of an eye, I went from eating filet mignon to filling up a tray of the shit they feed you in prison. The headlines screaming Lebanese brothers, heroin dealers, must have sold some papers. I can't deny it was a sexy story. 2 ethnic Arab brothers who were living large finally get their comeuppance. Pictures of our nightclubs, cars, Harleys and penthouse and houses were splashed over the papers. What happened that day?
Oh, that was a mess.
I love how you put it. Like you.
Yeah, we had big plans that day. We were going out in the water with a couple of mates. Had a big 40-foot ocean racer, and I ran into the club for a minute just to get the tills ready for that evening.
Yeah.
So I was literally there for 10 minutes, and I was running out the door, and then I got arrested. And 2 coppers, they were very fucking nervous, mate. Had their guns out. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. I thought, look at these cunts. I better comply. They were very nervous. And we're going through.
Because it was you.
Yeah, well, I was a bit of a naughty boy. Yeah. But anyway, we're going through this conversation in court, and they were cross-examining the copper that told me to lay on the ground. Mate, did I get abused by my mum? She asked me all the fighting and all this and all that, and you let this guy put you on the ground. I go, Mum, he had a gun. He was fucking nervous. Yeah. I was worried he was going to shoot me.
There's something in your book you said about your mum was, I think you were with your lawyer in prison and you're having a cigarette.
No, we're in court. That's true, yeah, we're in court. The committal was standing around having a cigarette and she's walked in. I'm going, quick, grab that, get that. He's going, what? I said, take that. He goes, what's wrong? I said, Mum just walked in. She doesn't know I smoke.
And your lawyer goes, Jay, you're
serious? That's what you're worried about? I said, mate, have you seen my mum? Don't upset Mum. No, she didn't know I smoked and she didn't know I had a tattoo. God bless her.
Yeah.
You don't want to upset your mother.
No.
I mean, they put up with a lot.
Yeah.
They absorb all the nonsense, mate. Like she had, my family were, we were entrenched in the community. Everyone used to come to our house. We were part of the Lebanese community, and after my arrest, that ruined everything for them. They were ostracised
from everyone else.
Well, there was still some people that obviously stuck by them, but for the most part, it was jealousy because of the amount of money that was that they were talking about all over the paper. Yeah, everybody wanted to know where's some of that action, and it was heroin, so they were ostracised, and I fucked up their relationships a bit there.
Yeah,
but I mean, also you find out who your friends are, don't you? Really?
Yeah, when it all happens, yeah. Yeah, you see who's behind.
It's a horrible way for them to find that out, and you don't really blame other people for turning their back because of it was heroin, for fuck's sake. Yeah. We're not talking about a traffic offence.
Yeah, and it was trafficking, conspiracy, and a possession of a commercial trafficable amount of heroin. So how much was it?
1.6 kilos.
1.6, which really is like a bag of sugar.
Yeah, 1.5 and above is commercial. Well, it was back then. I'm not sure about now.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd even know what that was. That comes in fucking tons.
Yeah.
I think they just picked up 4 ton the other week in Queensland. 4 ton. Fuck.
So that's what you got charged with.
Yeah.
And then your court case, so it was an 8-week committal hearing, and you say they had snipers out in the court.
They had snipers on the roof.
On the roof.
Yeah. That was Fridays. On Fridays, they'd want to knock off early. So they'd put...
if you need to grab that.
No, fuck that cunt. The ex-wife.
Yeah.
There was on the front page of The Age, they had a picture of a sniper on the fucking roof. And they were going with the terrorist bullshit because I had machine guns.
Yeah.
You had a few guns. I was a kid. We all had guns. Well, not silenced ones, I guess.
But I only had water pistols.
Did you?
I missed out.
I had a heap of guns, bro. But we didn't really use them. We shot bottles. Yeah. I did anyway. for the most part, I missed actually. The thing with the machine gun is that if you stand back, say 10 metres, and you did the old Rambo shoot on your hip and spray it, if the angle's just off by a few centimetres, it goes either too high or too low. You got to be so accurate.
Oh, wow.
That doesn't work. You have to actually aim properly, which I learned later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering why I couldn't get the fucking bottles. Kept on moving closer and closer.
Now, this court process, so 8 weeks. Now, I can imagine court for you would have been a little bit hard in the way that it was out of your control. And you had a lawyer that was trying to get you to take a deal. You took a deal which turned out to be all bullshit. Is that like, does that happen a lot? Like where you think you got a deal?
Yeah. I mean, you look at it from their point of view, to run this trial would cost the community millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Clearly I was guilty, arrogant, and not very likeable. And, you know, I think she had a responsibility. She thought that just let's end this quick as we can and give them what they deserve and move on. That would have been her point of view. But on the other hand, she had a responsibility to me. She shouldn't have taken the case if she wasn't going to. I had never engaged a barrister to plead guilty. Yeah. My whole intention the whole time was to fight it because they'd fuck all on me. Yeah. I think I was well within my right to challenge it. Yeah. And if I lost, I lost. If I won, go fuck yourself. Yeah. Have another crack. Yeah. But anyway, she talked me out of that, and they offered me a deal where if I pleaded guilty with my brother, we'd get a reduced sentence and it would all be good. He was in a bit of bother. So we took that deal, and we still got the same sentence, which really, who gives a fuck? Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah. But you got 10 years.
Yeah. It's 18 with the 16, but back then they had remission, so effectively it was 10 years. Yeah. Which is not that much.
Not that much?
Nah. No. Looking up, it looks like a long time, but when you look back, the fact that went quick. You don't really get much time to get bored because it's such a explosive environment.
Yeah, I could imagine.
You know, the only time you really get to relax is when they close that cell door at night. All the other times you're tooled up and ready to stab someone or get stabbed.
So it's a top, like it's, I mean, you're always on edge, you're always on the lookout, you're always
you watch everything because look, I don't know how it is now, but you know, back then the technology wasn't as savvy. Cameras weren't sophisticated. There was lots of nooks and crannies because it was a very old prison. Yeah, you know, you could literally jump people. You could sneak into a cell, cut someone's head off, and sneak out again unnoticed. You could do a lot. So yeah, it was very violent, and you got to appreciate that a lot of the prisons were in jail for violence, and you know so everyone's capable and everyone's willing. There's a small group of corporates that no one noticed, but for the most part, they were all soldiers ready for war.
And that's the interesting thing. I look in your book, you called the chapter where you go to jail war. So it was like a war.
Absolutely.
Constant war.
Oh, yeah. There were 2 gangs that were at it for 7 years. And, you know, I'm stuck in the middle because I like both of them. But it was all good.
I know you got no regrets at all in life, but
none.
If you could go back and just change that part of I know the trafficking heroin, you didn't realise at the time was what it actually causes. Can you just elaborate a little about that?
Oh, yeah, that's probably the one regret I actually have, not because I was caught, but because I learnt during my incarceration that the negative impact that heroin has on the community and on individuals and on their families, and you know, I really do regret that. Yeah. And that's why this is also why I can rationalise my sentence, because I understand what the consequences of my actions were. So, you know, I'm not sitting here being a victim. You know,
which is rare as well. I mean, no one ever sits there and goes, oh, you know, I deserve what I got. I deserve that sentence. Or
I'm not saying I deserved it.
No, but you accepted it.
But like I accepted it.
Yeah,
I definitely accepted it. I wasn't bitter about it. I mean, that's what the you know the community decided was an appropriate punishment. So you just accept that. Yeah. I mean, I would like to argue against that a little bit.
Reduced time.
I would have argued that you would have got the same result in 5 years. You know, I'm not playing up again. But they insisted on 10. So that's what it is. That's what it is, bro. Yeah. But even when you're incarcerated, and even under all that aggression and fucking hatred, and a lot of the hatred is not for the prisoners, it's for the prison guards. You just fucking hate those dogs. Right?
Yeah,
not all of them.
and you
not
call
all
them
of them.
screws, yeah.
Screws.
And you did say that they become screws because they're fuck ups in life. Or
Well,
they're
most of them are
bullies.
just weak dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, weak cunts. But can't get a job selling fucking writing parking tickets, so they get a job as a turnkey.
Yeah.
But not all of them. There's a response unit called the SOGs. They were all okay.
They're the ones that come into jail and storm the jail.
They're the ones that storm. They'll go on with it.
Yeah.
They'll go toe to toe with you. They're not scared of you. They don't give a fuck. But they're respectful. Do you know why they're respectful? Because they're not insecure.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a problem with them. In fact, I was pretty lucky because whenever we had fucking riots and they were dragging cunts out of cells and jumping on their heads, they always open my cell and just say, "Oh, would you mind stepping out?" They give me a fucking minute. They'd never laid a hand on me, bro.
Yeah.
They used to follow me around the prison, literally.
Yeah. Didn't lay a hand on.
But they wouldn't come near me.
Yeah. I know you've told this story before on Neil Mitchell's podcast, and that was, by the way, a great interview. The story about Chopper Reed. So you did time with Chopper.
Yeah. Well, I didn't actually I wasn't in the same pod as Chopper. My brother was.
Oh, okay, your brother, yeah. Which is Eli.
Ellie,
sorry.
Yeah. Ellie,
He sounds like an amazing guy out of this.
Ali, he's amazing. He's amazing. He's all in. Like, there's no grey with this bloke.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool. So we were in court and the screw played up a little bit and he knocked him out. And so consequently he went to H Division and that's when he met Craig and Chopper.
Yeah.
And they developed a bit of a relationship. He was only there for a few weeks. And then throughout the rest of our sentence, H Division and D Division were only separated by a chain mesh security fence or two fences. And on the weekend, they would come out during their exercise and we'd go and say, "G'day, what's doing? Need anything? Whatever." Have a bit of a chat. And that was that relationship. There was a bit of a job on. I had to get someone. He was in H Division. Very hard to get someone in H Division because they're isolated.
Yeah.
Unless you can get him in the yard together, which they weren't going to put him in the yard with Chopper, or you can get creative.
How'd you get creative? Well, I know, but I'd love you to tell my viewers and listeners.
Well, Chopper was the billet. So he would give them their cereal and their toast and their milk every morning for their breakfast. So I got one of my boys who said he can get his hand on poison to get the poison from Sydney. Big effort, bro.
From Sydney, and you're in Melbourne.
Yep. And that went to another prisoner's wife who bagged it, condoms, sealed it all up. She saw him on a visit. He booted it, stuck it up his ass, brought it through into the system, cleaned it up and handed it over.
Jeez.
A bit of an effort. And then it was going to get delivered to Chopper. And then Chopper would have put in a syringe into the milk, or we're going to do the milk. And he would deliver it for breakfast, and the guy would have his breakfast and have heart failure, or whatever the fuck happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there were a couple of other prisoners there that I didn't really like them. Didn't know them actually, but they were a bit fucking weird. I think they were rapists or some shit.
Yeah, so obviously rapists and pedos in jail are like
they're undercover.
Bottom.
You don't unless you don't know, because they hide them. But these cunts are fucking weird. So we thought we'd give it a little test drive while we got it. So we put it in their kettle, wait for them to come back, because they come back and hopefully we're in their cell at the end of the day and have their coffees, and they had their coffee and we're just waiting. Nothing. Then they all got locked up and I could still see I was on a corner, I could still see the cell and waiting for an ambulance to come. Fucking nothing came, mate. The cunt got me a dud.
Oh, fuck.
So that didn't work out too well. He got out, the other guy had gotten out in the meantime, but didn't have time to get more of it. But that was a really good plan, man. That was
all that effort getting it in, and then
big effort. And it came at an expense. It wasn't for free. But this guy had to go. We had to get him. And he's dead anyway. So, but it would have been nice if we had done it in our environment.
Yeah.
It's just like
nicer way.
Yeah. It's like we'll get you anywhere you can.
Yeah. One thing that really pissed you off about prison was the prison greens, and again, reading some of your story, it's like reading you probably saw Goodfellas, the movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the way they were inside in jail doing separate time. I mean, that's what it sounded like. Like you got your own clothes in jail.
Yeah.
Cooking your own food.
We had our own fry pans in jail, in our cells. We had everything. Look, you can do that as a long-termer. you can do all that. It wasn't just us; other prisons had us as well. We were unique because we were in Pentridge, where most of the prisoners at that time were just passing through. But we weren't the only ones that had those privileges. But other prisoners preferred to have drugs.
Yeah.
We preferred to have fry pans and microwaves and food and vitamins and our own clothes.
Yeah.
That was our preference. We didn't want to succumb to the system, so we tried to maintain our independence and our individuality to as much as we could. We did that. We did a really good job with that.
I mean, you're feared in jail because of the way the media portray it. I mean, you are. I mean, you are who you are as well. I mean, the media's not making stuff up, but
yeah. But by the time we were sentenced, we had a reputation that was preceded us.
Yeah. You and your brother.
Yeah, but that only takes you so far. When you have to go on with it. There's lots of willing cunts in jail, bro. So stab a few, bash a few, do what you want to do.
One thing, again, from your book, there was one ruthless rapist who preyed on the weak. One of the victims was at the end of his sentence, only had a day to go and wanted revenge, so we tooled him up with a shiv and a vest, and he ran out on the cunt who'd raped him. He stabbed his rapist 28 times while we kept watch at the cell door. As he pushed the door open to exit, the dog rapist was on the floor to the cell, in shock, bleeding out, terrified to move, and you've written beautiful to see.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I see a pedophile in the news, and, I'm enraged, but I mean, I can't go up to him and kill him, but, you're just standing there is a beautiful thing to see. I mean, was that a regular thing you see in jail, like rapists and pedophiles?
That particular scenario wasn't regular because this guy had been a victim of the rapist.
Yeah.
And he was a kid. He was actually a kid who was very tormented by the act, and he wanted to go on with it. This guy that he got was a serious person. He wasn't a fucking weak cunt.
Yeah.
That's why he got away with it. He was also a killer. So that was unique. So we tooled him up. We vested him up, got the hard copy books.
Wow.
And put them around his heart, his vitals, taped him all up so he was covered, because the other cunt had shifts as well. And then we just watched and waited, and when the guy walked into his cell, he ran straight in after him, just started stabbing him, so he didn't give him an opportunity. And we just had to sat knit at the door. It was good. Good, a bit of screaming. Shut up, you dog.
And there's a lot of shivs in jail. There's shivs everywhere.
Everyone was tooled up. You know the funniest thing? There's a metal shop in fucking prison.
Metal shop.
My brother used to go there to the metal shop on his lunch break and instruct other prisoners to get that bit of steel, that 12-inch bit of steel, and sharpen it to a point, and they would do it over the lunch break. I don't know what the fucking guards are doing, mate. We had so many shivs. We had some shivs that were like swords. We manufactured them all in jail.
Far out.
Can you believe it?
In jail. Crazy.
Yeah.
You also mentioned in your book you fucked a few women in jail.
Yeah, with my girls, yeah, fucked them, got caught.
How does that even happen?
Well, the first time was we went to Barwon Prison, and they were starting to introduce urine testing, and it was rejected by the prisoners.
Yeah,
right? But it didn't affect me because I didn't take drugs. And the governor there was an ex-security guy. He wasn't a bad bloke, actually. And another prisoner, Keithy Ford, came up with an idea. He said, if we can get everyone to sign in our area that we would voluntarily take the urine testing, we'll get some benefits. So what are the benefits? He goes, well, we'll get a weekend, once a month we'll get a visit in the industry area with just 2 guards, a barbecue, have a family there, unmonitored sort of thing, you know where I'm going with this? I said, oh yeah, what else do we get? There was a list of shit that we got. I said, no problem. So I went around to all the prisoners and said, this is what we're doing. You can stay or you can leave. So the ones that didn't want to comply had to bail, and the ones that did stayed. So we became the voluntary urine testing unit, and we had this visit. So I had my bird come out, and, we discreetly went to an area, and we had a bit of romance. And that was pretty cool. And then I backed up again in the afternoon, like 2 hours later. Yeah. Can you believe one of the other fucking prisoners lagged me? He went and got the guard, or his wife got the guard. So I got pinched. They didn't come in. They waited for me, obviously. And then I went down the slot. and she was banned. And while I was down the slot, I mean, my cell's clean. I didn't give a fuck, but I just read and push up anyway. It made no difference to me. It's like,
so what's in the slot? Just like a mattress and that's it.
well, the slot, the concrete floor has like a 4-inch raise in it for a bed, so it's a concrete bed, and then a mattress and you get a sink in the toilet. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, which is like, oh, it's no big deal. You just read and push up, no big fucking deal, mate. But they came in. They had tourists coming through the prison from interstate, and they came in and said, "Oh, do you mind if we come through your cell? Because some of these other cunts are fucking chats." I said, whatever. And the guy goes, "Oh yeah, so was it worth it?" I said, "Mate, give me another fucking month. Of course it was worth it." Fucking idiot. Fucking worth it. Been the first bit of sex I got in 2 years.
Now, your first day out of prison, your brother still had 20 extra days.
No, I had 20 extra days.
Oh, you had 20 extra days.
Yeah, I accumulated a few extra days. So he was going to get out early. And a year before that, he'd already written to the parole board, and the head of the board was Judge Vincent. And they knew us. They knew what we were like. We couldn't separate us, bro. Every time they tried to separate us, it just turned to a mess, and they had to put us back together again because we fucking played up, right? So they stopped trying. And he requested that he said, "Listen, you know, I'm due to be released 20-something days before my brother, but it's going to affect my family really badly to see one of us out and one remain behind. Would you consider letting me stay until the end of my brother's sentence?" So he asked for more time, and it was granted, but they understood.
Why?
For compassionate reasons. They knew. They understood that. I mean, to an outsider, it sounds ludicrous and mad, but you know, this is how we are.
But that's the brotherhood.
That's how we are.
You.
We're a family. We stick together. We do what we need to do for each other.
Which I find rare, because there's always, I mean, even family members trying to fuck over other family members and friends and things like that. I mean, you and your brother are like, nothing can break that.
Well, that's just how we were raised. I mean, that's the environment we grew up in. That comes from our parents.
Yeah.
You know, and like we have a deep respect for other people. Like despite my crime, I do respect people, and I expect to be respected back as well.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've learned about you as well. When you're sorting things out, you do go there with the intent to be amicable, sort the issue out.
Absolutely.
Without having to go down.
We don't want to bully people.
Yeah.
But we will.
And one thing in prison is you looked after a lot of the new prisoners that came in. You took them under your wing.
A lot of vulnerable kids there that would, could become victims.
Yeah.
We didn't allow that to happen, where we could. If we noticed something a bit tricky, we'd step in.
And do you think jail can make it worse for some of those people? That they come in and then they come out and do a life of crime because they've been in jail with some...
I think the biggest problem for people that have become recidivist prisoners is that income.
Yeah.
Income and drug use. So I don't think enough is done for them. I mean, they send kids home after 2, 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years jail with half a dog check. They say, "There you go, do your best, give me a smack on the ass."
And they're left out the front and just...
Yeah. What the fuck are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
Half a dog check. How far is that going to take you? Like, that's ridiculous. So the government will spend all this money on prosecuting and incarcerating and police force and all the rest of it. But these problem people that actually have problems, whether it's mental health or financial or whatever the fuck it is, they don't contribute enough towards helping them. Like Neil Mitchell asked me about these kids that are playing up all the time, and what do we do about these kids?
Well, the youth crime at the moment.
Yeah, home evasions and this and that. I said, well, clearly you're not doing enough about it for them. They're playing up for a fucking reason, mate. You get all this social media, all these kids on social media showing off their Lamborghinis and their lifestyle, and all these kids that are going without, that are exposed to all this, and they just want to be a part of that. They want a little bit more.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, they try a bit harder and do things that's within their capacity, which ends up breaking the law. But they should do more for these kids.
When they get out.
Don't just focus on punishing them, mate. Punishment doesn't work.
Yeah.
It actually doesn't fucking work. You got to give them something, give them an education, give them an opportunity, give them money, whatever it fucking takes, mate.
Yeah.
Help them stay on the straight and narrow.
So they struggle to get a job because they've just been in jail. and they got no money, and then they turn to crime to get money, and then they're back in.
That's their self-esteem.
Yeah.
You think people get out of jail with high self-esteem? Their self-esteem is shot. They're insecure. You know, they feel like they're being, well, they're definitely being monitored, but they're being victimised. You know, most people just want an opportunity. You know, unfortunately, the cards always land where they land.
Yeah.
Some people kick and some people don't. But I mean, look, if you're serious about helping these kids, they should be helping them further in their education, giving them better opportunities, and mate, give them fucking money.
Yeah.
Put them on a year, put them on a wage for a fucking year, doing something.
Yeah.
You know, if you generally want to start reducing youth crime, then do something proper about it. Stop punishing these kids and wasting all this money on fucking courts and police.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
true. It's true. I'm going to get on to something else in a minute, but you just brought up social media then, and I've got a 13-year-old daughter, and she's exposed to it. It's a bit of a, you know, what do you do? But what are your thoughts on kids and social media at the moment?
It's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm going to start doing, and I'm going to get a lot of pushback, is turning off the Wi-Fi at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
So I find out, I mean, my kids go to a private school. What a waste of fucking money.
Well, same with my daughter. She's at a private school, but just at night, they're just constantly just on those fucking phones.
When she was 15, I took her phone off her at 9:30 p.m. For an hour and a half. She was banging on my door, pleading with me to give her back her phone. So what I would do is, I had bottles of water in my room, and I'd open the lid, I'd open the door, squirt it with water, and shut the door. Like that. This went on for like an hour and a half. She was relentless. In the end, I gave up. I gave her back her fucking phone. There was no peace. She won. It was a battle of the wills. Her will was greater than mine. So I don't know, but I really don't. This navigating around social media, and I don't know what to do about it. Like I'm a single parent, so I don't have support.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult. If there were two of us, maybe it'd be a little bit different. But, I mean, I'm going to try. I try and guide them. I have good kids, but unfortunately, social media can have such a negative impact on them.
It does, and it's all the algorithms.
Yeah, and they know what they're doing. They're addicting these children. I mean, my boy, he's 11 years old. He's become a shopaholic. He takes his grandmother's credit card and starts buying all this shit. And this is the beginning of becoming a gambler. So now I have to separate him from all this nonsense as well.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I opened up my daughter a bank account a few months ago for the first time. I said, start putting some money and earning money. Well, the first thing she did, she downloaded the Uber Eats app.
We don't have Dad's cooking anymore. Man, my kids are the same, bro. I'm not even going to tell you the number. I put a number in my daughter's account. She just spends it. Top it up, she just spends it.
Cool.
She's so funny.
But it's hard as a dad, though. It's hard to say no to your daughter.
They can have whatever I have is theirs, bro. Yeah. At the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, I get pleasure out of seeing them enjoying what I can give them.
Can provide, yeah.
I'm not going to be able to see it when I'm dead.
Yeah, that's true.
So enjoy, do your best.
Yeah. Fast forward 2011, you become president of one of the most feared clubs in Australia, possibly.
The most feared club in Australia.
Yeah. The Comanchero Motorcycle Club. Now, you just become president. Now, normally you've got to do is it called become a nominee?
Yeah, the normal process is you become a nom for a year, and you just keep earning your different patches until you become a full member. Then you gradually become part of the office bearers, and then possibly a sergeant or a president one day.
Yeah.
But I became sergeant immediately.
Oh, you sergeant in arms immediately.
And then 2 weeks later, I became state president.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it took me 2 fucking weeks.
How did that happen? How did you just become, were you approached or, I mean, was that in your, when you're in jail and things like that, was that in your vision to become
I never thought I'd ever join a bike club. I didn't like bikies.
Okay.
I mean, all the media attention the bikies got, and you know how the bikies rolled wasn't really my thing. We're all clean and sharp. But the then president of the Commos in Victoria had problems, so I was his go-to to sort them out. And he got summoned to Sydney over an issue, and he fucked up a little bit. And he asked me to go with him because he was a bit concerned about the consequences. And I've known this kid all my life. We both grew up together. So I said, yeah, whatever, let's go. never take a backward step.
Yeah.
And then we get there and we weren't sure what to expect, but we knew it was going to be nasty, right? So we're ready. And he was approached with, can we do anything for you? Are you okay? Is there anything we can do to help? How you going back there? Do you need any assistance? So he was given a love, bro. The opposite to what we expected. So now I'm looking at these guys that I just met, and they're all very serious, formidable people, and they got so much fucking love for each other. This is what made them so strong. Not only were they capable, very capable, but they had a bond. They were a brotherhood, and they would do anything.
Like you and your brother.
Yeah, and they would do anything for each other, and they would do it immediately. And I witnessed this for a minute, and I got to know the guys, and I really enjoyed their company because it was unlike anything I'd seen for a long time. Being incarcerated and getting out to all this new community. And, one thing led to another, and they asked me to hop on. So I did.
Wow.
And then the then president fucked up again. They said, mate, I was going to actually take a walk. They said, no, we'd prefer it if you stayed, and we fucked him off. And that's how it happened.
So that wasn't on the horizon at all, and then you've become president. What was it like for the first time putting that patch on?
I was a little bit shy, to be honest with you.
Really? You don't seem like a shy guy.
Yeah, but right over with the patch on, so we didn't do it that often. But I mean, for the first bit, I just kept a lid on it, and then within like a month, I'd grown the club. I brought all my boys on, grown the club, got a proper clubhouse, and turned it into something formidable really quickly. And then we just rode around. It was pretty cool.
The clubhouse, I want to ask you about. It sounded like an amazing place. Obviously, with your nightclub experience, had a snake pit, stripper poles.
Yeah,
clubhouse, like
2 stories.
Two stories.
Yeah, had a big fucking. It was really cool actually.
Yeah,
it was a proper.
Where was this? In
South Melbourne.
South Melbourne. Yeah.
Thistleway Street.
Oh, Thistleway. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a really good place, and I had the advantage of knowing everyone around town, so everything was donated. Everything was donated. The clubhouse didn't cost us anything.
Really?
Everyone chipped in. Yeah, I was getting $50,000 donations, 10,000, 20,000 furniture, lighting, sound.
Wow.
I was loved. I'm still loved.
Yeah.
But I had the capacity to do,
to
get that shit done. And so the difference with us is when we had our national party, everyone came from around Australia. Normally you go to these events and you pay for your food and you pay for your drinks, and that helps generate income to pay for the clubhouse. We didn't charge anyone anything. Everything was donated, so no one paid for anything.
I just came in and had fun.
They had whatever they wanted.
Yeah. And you started 3 chapters as well.
We had 3, on to our 4th when I left.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you chaired all the meetings. So basically everything was ran by you. Like,
yeah, but look,
you had the final word at the end of it.
You can't. Unfortunately, when we were the first 8 to 10, it was very tight.
Yeah.
And it was really good. So you'd allow those men to vote for things because they're all responsible adults. We're all thinking in the same direction. But when it grew to so many, we have a vote, and for the most part, they don't know what they're voting for. So, for example, I was in Dubai for work, and I came back and they had a vote on where the party was going to be for a national run. And they all voted that we'll start at 7 o'clock at the clubhouse, and then at 10 o'clock, everyone's going to King Street to the strippers.
And how many? There's like 300.
300 commas.
Yeah.
300 commas. I mean, just logistically, who's going to fucking drive in there? No one's riding. Everyone's fucking drunk. Who's doing the driving? So they've told me this news. I said,
and you're in Dubai while this
now, when I come back, the guy looks me at a vote. That's what we decided. Because obviously, when I'm away, I leave someone else in charge.
Yeah.
I was yeah, sweet. Yeah, so we had the next meeting, which is the meeting before. I left that issue to the last. I said, so whether you guys want to do A, B, and C, they go, let's re-vote it. Hands up for King Street. They all put their hands up. I said, denied. That's the end of it.
So the voting, yours is still the final word.
Mine's the final word, bro.
Wow.
Anyone got a fucking problem?
Yeah.
No. Good. Shut the fuck up. Fucking morons. I've got a fucking strip club in King Street. I'm going to let you cunts go there drunk.
So yeah, because you owned
Spearmint
Rhino,
yeah,
which was from America, yeah.
Well, the Americans still own it. Yeah, they bought me out.
Oh, they brought you out. Okay.
Oof, poor cunts, tortured them.
Really?
We used to get fucking every Friday. They'd go there and audit the place thinking I was laundering money. This was a weekly thing. Anyway, they always thought the worst.
Yeah.
That place is squeaky clean.
Yeah.
And the Americans run a very tight operation. They've got like 80 clubs, John Gray, all around the world. He's a really good operator.
Yeah.
And all managements from the States, they start at the bottom, work their way up, and he sends them around the world. And they're pretty good. Richard's still there now. He runs a tight ship.
Yeah.
Great guy. Great club. Highly recommended.
Yeah.
Don't get caught by your wife. She will fuck you up.
Going back to when you were president, so I like to talk about this because you don't actually hear a lot of stories about, bikie clubs, obviously for a reason. No one wants to sort of give away everything about it. But what was the sort of daily, was it a daily thing that you're every day at the clubhouse taking care of business?
No, bro, no, it wasn't that. I mean, look, there's daily issues, of course, because when you're dealing with so many fucking members, there's always issues.
Yeah.
But no, look, it wasn't the priority. I was the president, it was a club, we rode, we hung out, then we went back to our real lives, which is our family and our work. But we had the last party we had there, the police, the commander in that area had changed. There was a female in the beginning, and she was really cool. I wish I remembered her name because she was super cool.
Yeah.
They brought a new commander in, was a fucking cowboy. He's just a fuckwit. Like, he's proper fuckwit. Thought he was a fucking hero. He's a fucking gronk. Idiot. Anyway, but what they did was they put a booze bus on both ends of our street. So it blocked everyone in and blocked everyone out. So you had to go through this to get into the clubhouse. And it was like they ambushed us. The drugs weren't at the clubhouse yet, right? But there was a little laneway, right? And there were fucking police everywhere. So what we'd have to do was people would have to slow down and they'd roll out of the car while it was still moving and run down the laneway and get the drugs in and all this sort of shit. It was fucking hilarious. But we did it. We had a great night. Yeah. And this was all because they'd heard they were going to King Street.
Oh, so that's why
That's why they did that, because these fucking morons said, let's go to King Street.
Yeah.
Bro, go to King Street any day you want. What the fuck do you want to go with 300 men?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was a very funny evening.
One thing that stood out to me was that you were very selective of who you let in. Now, and I never really thought about this because, we watch things like Sons of Anarchy and obviously that's all glamorized and that's not how it all really works. I don't know about other clubs, but I'm talking about yours. But if they didn't have an income, if they weren't a family man, like they weren't allowed in. Was that like?
They were my rules. Look, the problem with me was I was high profile, and I didn't need anyone else to make things worse for me.
You didn't need that extra stress, yeah.
No. So, and a lot of people that are active hide in bike clubs. They have a bit of wealth and they pay the clubs and they get a bit of protection and they run amok.
Yeah.
So I was very, very selective. I didn't want any of that in the club because it would reflect on me. So I did it for selfish reasons, not because I wanted to run a quick, clean outfit. It's because I didn't want to fall over with some other fucking twit, which almost happened actually.
I did?
Yeah, absolutely. One of my members, one of the original three, a really good guy. I don't want to mention his name, but a really good guy. When I took over, there was two left from the original, and I grabbed the other one. I said, come on, let's go grab this cunt. We're going to tip him. And they were related. I said, mate, you got to go. He goes, why? I haven't done anything. I said, well, I know you're active. And are you going to get caught, bro? Like, this is not your thing. Ultimately, you're going to get caught, and they're going to say, oh, it's all Jay. It's all Jay. And, you're going to be under a bit of pressure, and you're probably going to buckle and say, yeah, it was him, to escape your conviction.
Yeah.
He goes, no, I'm not a dog. I wouldn't do that, and you could nothing. And I don't do that anymore. I said, oh, you stopped? He goes, yeah, I've stopped. I said, well, we'll let you have a crack, but if I find out you're playing up, you got to go, bro. Turns out he hadn't stopped. And he got arrested, and what a mess. And guess what they were doing? His wife told me. They were showing him pictures of me saying, why are you protecting him? It had nothing to fucking do with me, mate.
Yeah.
I didn't even associate with this guy. Like, the most I ever did with him is, at one of the parties, he pulled out a bag and we did a couple of small lines together. Then I found out he had fucking plenty of the cunt. It was a bit dirty, actually. It was mine. But so that was it. So I almost got in trouble for some other cunt. So that's why I was very selective.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, that's amazing. I mean, there's mob bosses over in the States that are like that. They don't want people doing drugs or whatever because they'll flip so easily. They get caught. And
absolutely. But see, the thing is, I didn't join the bike club to become an outlaw.
Yeah.
I was already an outlaw. I joined the bike club for a social activity because I enjoyed riding bikes. I enjoyed the brotherhood. And I took it to where I wanted to take it, and then I had enough and let it go. So I retired. We grew so quickly.
Yeah, you said that. You said it became really hard work.
Well, because you manage so many personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, even though each chapter had their own president, but for the most part, they weren't capable. But it was all right. It was good. When I left, we had no problems.
Yeah.
There were no issues. There were nothing. It was sweet.
It was all good.
It was all good. But then after I left, things went a bit south.
Yeah, I mean, it must be hard. I mean, I saw those laws in Queensland. I think I saw something, it was a couple of years ago, where there was two guys from a club at the same restaurant. They didn't know each other were there, and they get arrested and put in jail. I mean, that's absolutely crazy.
Queensland's another world, bro. Like, but you have to understand, the lead up to that was they'd arrested a couple of members of a bike club, and then that bike club took it upon themselves to raid the police station, 40 of them, and they really crossed the line.
Yeah.
And the consequence of that was, you want to fuck around, this is how it goes.
Yeah.
So that was the beginning of the end.
Is it harder now?
Good luck trying to ride around with your colours now. They've got special squads now, Raptor and I forget what the Victorian one's called. But yeah, they don't fuck around, mate.
Yeah.
If you're a proper social club, they'll probably leave you alone. But if you're an outlaw club like the Comos, it's very difficult to ride and enjoy that lifestyle again.
Yeah. And one thing about you said in your book was all your members and yourself, obviously, were all fit, lean, healthy, didn't drink, didn't do drugs.
Yeah.
Where you see a lot of other clubs is not like that, like sort of bigger guys drinking and partying all the time. You're a different species.
Look, we did. We did party on occasion.
Yeah.
But it wasn't our weekly thing. It wasn't our go-to. But for the most part, we're all into our family and health.
Yeah.
And bikes, we really like bike riding. But look, bike clubs, each bike club is different. They're independent and they do things the way they want to do things, and they're members of that club because that's what suits them. And my club is a bit different because I modelled my club on myself.
Yeah.
So if you're a mirror of me or close to it,
you're in.
If you're a bit different, you just didn't fit in.
Yeah.
That's all.
Do you ever have any other members from other clubs that wanted to come on?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a thing that you can do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let them.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I rejected that. You have to have respect for the other clubs as well, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the clubs joined after I left. They took on some other members from other clubs, but I just didn't think that was a cool thing to do. So for me, it didn't work for me.
Yeah.
If I had members from other clubs that wanted to jump on, I'd politely decline. Even though they were good blokes, I just don't think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like switching teams midway through the game.
Yeah. Is it hard to get out? Like, is it it's a process
for the combos? It's not.
Okay.
Combos are they're really different. Like, if you want to throw the tail in, throw the fucking tail in. Leave your bike behind, but you got to, if you want to go. Some other clubs, they'll try and rape you and take all your assets and extort you and beat you and do all sorts of fuck up
really?
shit. Oh, yeah.
So they don't want you to go, or they...
Some clubs want to control your life, bro. Once you're in for life.
Yeah.
The combos are just... none of us, even going back to McHowie and all them, we didn't grow up bikies. We just grew up... Most of those boys were just friends from our childhood and just jumped on. So we weren't institutionalised in that sort of way with the clubs. But, if you didn't want to be in it, you didn't want to be in it. Like, if your heart's not in it, your heart's not in it. Have a nice day, leave your bike and fuck off.
Well, I'm sure someone like you, though, like it would have been a bit of a process to, like,
For
you
me.
couldn't just up and leave today. Like, you would have had to...
No, I groomed the next guy up.
Okay.
I was retiring for probably 8 months. I had problems at home with the family, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was starting to affect my personal life. And my kids were getting ostracised and isolated.
Yeah, you mentioned
in school.
that about...
Yeah. That was a bit too much to handle.
That would have been hard.
Well, just because I got two beautiful young daughters, and I didn't want them to grow up with when I grew up, there were you'd hear about these crime families and I didn't want that for my kids.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they've got that still. So I made a conscious decision that I'm going to step out of this shit because I was getting way too much attention and hit the road for a couple of years and come back and hopefully it'll settle down. So I groomed the next guy up who was ready for it. He was ready for it. He was very smart, very capable, and we talked about it for about. And I let the nationals know overseas in Sydney that I'm retiring soon, and that was it. Then when I pulled the pin, I pulled the pin.
Do you think it's like you talk about the parents from where your daughters went to school, they want to associate with your kids? Do you think that's like they should have done that? Do you think?
They're just scared.
Yeah,
that's all. I still get that.
Even now, like you obviously the book's out and you're doing podcasts and
people get scared, bro.
Yeah,
the general community. I mean, like as a parent,
what are they scared? Or they think there's going to be a bomb blow up or
crossfire. What if we walk in front of his car, he might run us over? Who fucking knows, bro? Yeah. People are scared of their own shadow.
Yeah.
But look, I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. Like I set myself up for failure. You don't expect people just to accept you, especially when you're getting all that Herald Sun negative press. I don't believe them. That's all nonsense. See if they're going to buy that shit.
But I think now where we're at in 2024 and we've seen it, like legacy media, a lot of people aren't believing what's in the media.
Yeah, well, media, look, all this fake news, it's controlled. Well, look what's happened to Trump.
Yeah.
By the way, I love Trump.
Yes.
And if you don't love him, fuck you. You fuckwit. Look who won, you cunts.
I said to my wife, he was going to win.
Of course he's going to fucking win. The world's going to go to shit if he doesn't. Imagine if another fucking Biden for another. Oh my God, what a fucking twit! Oh, are those cunts fucking blind? What don't they see? Anyway, thank God for Trump.
I was watching Fox News a lot before the election, and a mate of mine in Queensland was the same. And it's unbelievable to see two channels that can be so different.
Yeah.
Reporting like CNN, everything negative about Trump, and everything's Biden, and
it's all manipulated.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that's that does. I mean, it's here as well. Like I remember back in the day, like all this gangland stuff, the Herald Sun. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that you find out now that wasn't right.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter for us because we just don't really equate. But when it comes to someone as high as the President of the United States and all the bullshit, like that's unbelievable power.
Yeah,
who's driving these ships?
Yeah,
who's pulling those strings? Like the things they get away with.
I know.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
Now, I remember when COVID started, Trump got COVID. And
that's right, yeah.
He took ivermectin, Zithromax, and something else. Then he got up and said, I took ivermectin, Zithromax, and something else, and it cured me. And all the fake news about ivermectin, it's a horse drug, it's this. Mate, I had COVID. I took ivermectin, it was gone in 2 days. It cures COVID.
Yeah.
He announced it, and they bagged him for it. Because that's Trump. He's honest. He's not manipulated. He's not controlled. And that's who they fucking need to run that country.
Yeah, and I mean, look at when it all started. I mean, we all got vaccinated. We all went and did, listened to the government. And now, like, there's all these lawsuits. I mean, look at Fauci in America. I mean, there's all these
crazy, man.
These vaccine companies that are getting sued. I mean, Biden's just extended a thing with the vaccine companies that they can't be held responsible for anything until like at least 2029 or something.
Oh, of course he did. What are they paying for that?
And I saw a thing, the amount of pardons that he's given. I think it's like 4,000 pardons or something compared to like George Bush giving like 70 or something.
I gotta love the pardons though. Good on him. Yeah. Double it to 8,000.
Do you think they should introduce that here?
Yeah, please.
Imagine that.
Well, pardoning someone. Just fucking let Tony Mokbel out for fuck's sake. But seriously,
he will get it. I mean,
mate, what are they waiting for?
Yeah.
What are they honestly? What are they waiting for? I hope he sues the fuck out of them. They deserve to be fucking tortured for this shit.
Yeah, what they did. Yeah.
And that cunt got $3 million. Fucking fat dog.
Do you get to go and visit anyone inside?
They won't let me in.
They won't let you in.
No.
Too high profile.
They remember me.
Yeah.
A few have been dismissed.
Yeah.
Under stress.
Have you ever run into a screw out?
Actually, I did. When I got out, I secured an apartment at the Melbourne. It was one of the better buildings back then.
Yep.
And guess who the concierge was?
An ex-screw.
Still opening my fucking door, you dog. I'd go to the door and wait, open the fucking door, cunt. You'd have to open it. Still opening doors.
Did you say that to him?
100%. Said a few things to him. Used to call him a little puppy. Mate, I don't like screws. They're fucking dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is like now, but back in the day in Pentridge, they were just menaces.
Yeah.
They would get prisoners killed. They would actually set prisoners up to get killed by prisoners. They were fucking dogs.
Wow.
Ruthless cunts.
And go back to Pentridge for a minute. You were on the last bus out of Pentridge.
Yeah, I couldn't be they couldn't house us anywhere. All they so small, they just couldn't cope. And I got to tell you, we didn't do anything. Like we really didn't play up. We just stood our ground. Like, don't fuck with us, and we're not going to fuck with you. But if you fuck with us, we're going to fucking launch at you. Which
is rare because a lot of people go to jail. They break. Obviously, they can't cope. Whereas you did completely the opposite.
Oh, we didn't give a fuck. Yeah, you have a few. Listen, jail's not that bad, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you're deprived of freedom, but you still have a lot of laughs. And
well, you said in your book, jail's not bad unless you're a fuckwit. And what does it mean if you're a fuckwit?
Well, if you're a fuckwit, you're going to get hurt. You know, if you break the rules, if you enter the grey, then it's going to end badly for you.
Yeah.
You know, you really got to be black and white. There's rules, don't break them.
Yeah.
I think I read this in the book. There were these two guys that just twits. They stole something from a cell, just fuck all. But then they thought he saw them, so I thought this would be a good idea to put pillowcases over their head, run upstairs in J Division,
I remember
and stab him to death so we don't get caught for petty thieving. They actually held him down and cut his throat from ear to ear. He ended up with a big thick scar, but he survived. They were running into walls with these pillowcases. I thought the identity would be masked. And I think like another fucking 15 years. Fuckwits, bro. But this is jail, mate. Jail is full of people like that.
Yeah.
The end, like the resolution is, let's just kill him. Try that for 10 years, see how you go.
Do you think the jails are harder now compared to what it was like? I mean, Pentridge was a tough prison. I mean, it's one of the most notorious prisons in Australia.
Yeah, there's a lot of ghosts there.
Yeah. Have you been back since?
Nah, bro. What the fuck do I want to go back there for? We'll go back there when we start making this film.
Yeah, definitely.
When it gets picked up. And
this is definitely this is a movie. This is a series, right?
Yeah, well, that's what they're saying. So we'll see how we go.
100%.
So, but no, I've got no reason to go back to Pentridge. I don't miss the place.
Yeah.
But I don't know about the new jails. Like the technology is different now, so you wouldn't get away with what you could
back then. Yeah.
There are cameras everywhere. It's like they run a prison remotely almost.
Yeah.
The doors are electronic, and the game has totally changed. When I was a prisoner, you could kill people and get away with it. It'd be pretty hard to get caught, actually. That'd be like pillowcase fuckwit to get caught.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it'd be harder now to be a prisoner than it was when I was. I think there'd be more freedom when I was in jail than there is now.
Yeah.
Even though I was really, really violent, there was still a sense of freedom there.
Yeah.
You maintained your independence, your individuality. I can't see that happening anymore.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Haven't been there.
No.
You're not going to go there either.
No.
Do you miss being the president of the Comancheros?
I'll always be a commo.
Yeah.
But no, I don't miss it at all. Like, I didn't embrace it the way you think you would.
Yeah.
It wasn't a full-time gig for me. It was like I was given a task, I was offered a task, took it, did my best with it, and handballed it on. It wasn't my life, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I didn't abuse the power. It's a position of power, let me tell you. When you get 100 or 300 soldiers that will do as you instruct them to do, you're in a very powerful position.
Definitely.
So you can either decide to abuse that power and send people off in a corruptible manner, and there'll be consequences, or you can just roll as you normally should, let people do their own thing and don't get involved, and if they see them fucking up, rein them in a little bit, guide them in the right direction. Don't abuse it, which I never did.
And again, that's another thing about you, is you also mentioned that you would never ask someone to do something that you wouldn't do.
Correct.
Whereas not a lot of people are like that.
Yeah, but they're just fuckwits. How's that going to end? Go and shoot that cunt. Oh, he lagged on me. Of course he fucking did.
Yeah.
Do it yourself. Don't leave a witness.
Stand up. I know you've spoken about this in great detail, but before we do wrap up, just something from your book. March 2019 was just another day. Breakfast, school run, quick gym session, run of the mill Friday morning, sunny Athens, until they blew up my car and me along with it. So you moved to Greece?
Yeah, it's lovely.
What's Greece like?
Amazing. You should go. You've not been?
No, I've heard a lot about it, yeah.
Everyone should go to Greece. Don't go to the islands. I mean, go to the islands, obviously, but don't miss Athens. Athens is amazing.
Yeah.
The people are amazing. The food's really good. Beautiful coastline. It's it's probably one of my favourite destinations. Just don't fuck up there, you get blown up there.
So you moved over there when you just want to sort of...
When I left Dubai, I went to Greece because it was still central to Africa and London, and where I was still working for some mining companies.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So you were consulting mining companies.
Yeah, I was still consulting, so I was looking after a couple of lads, and I was getting paid very well. So it was better for me to stay closer to them, so I was more accessible. I used to fly. I would fly to Europe from Melbourne twice in a week. It's taxing.
Wow.
You know, so I relocated, and it was. I preferred to be over there at that time. Unfortunately, I got blown up, so I had to exit. But it was going good. I really enjoyed it there.
You said you let your guard down while you were there.
Yeah, dropped the ball.
Obviously, you were here. You always had your guard up and checking things out, making sure everything's...
It's pretty hard to be on your toes when you're looking after 3 kids.
Yeah.
And you got to, you know, like when you're running solo and you're independent, you don't miss a thing. You see a car, you see someone's mannerisms, you pick up on everything. When you're fucking making lunches and doing school pickups and you're running late, you miss a lot.
It's like a normal life.
Yeah, you miss a lot, bro. You miss a lot. So you can't be on your toes all the time, but you can behave appropriately. You know, if you don't misbehave, then you should be okay.
So do you think if you're on your toes at that time, that would have happened?
I think that if I didn't have my children, it would not have happened. They would not have had the opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't think that would have happened. I would have seen the writing on the wall and gone on with it or diffused it.
Yeah.
Well, apparently I was followed for 3 days.
Oh, before it happened?
Yeah. I didn't even fucking... Hello. No clue.
You still don't know who did it?
Not a clue.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, like reading about it, and I've heard you talk about it. I mean, fuck, like I said, it was like the movie Casino where Robert De Niro gets in the car and then it blows up, like, and you survive. Like,
bit of a mystery in it. I didn't even get knocked out.
You're awake the whole time.
Got myself out of there quick smart. I thought for sure there's going to be a fucking shooter who's going to leave me half dead.
So yeah, okay.
So I got out of the car, pulled myself out, and no one came. So I thought they must have thought, fuck, there's enough explosives here to kill someone for sure. The car lifted, it was blown to fucking bits.
Yeah, and it was a Mercedes.
Mercedes, a beautiful Mercedes, bro.
Yeah.
Love that car. Just bought it.
Do you think that saved your life? Or?
I think 2 things. With the Mercedes technology, this was an AMG 63. So when they designed when a car has an accident and on impact, they dispel the energy around the driver, so it doesn't get hit. That's how they're designed, and the door's still open. So I'm assuming all the energy, most of the energy, went out the car and around me because the airbag went off. I hit my head back, and I knew straight away what was going on. So I mean, that's the only thing I can rationalise it with. I did. One of the detectives, actually no, a mate of mine, ex-military, said maybe the integrity of the explosive wasn't on point. It didn't all blow up or something because it's like he's an explosive expert. He said, "Man, how the fuck did you survive that?" I don't know. God's will.
So you what actually happened? Like
the
you
pedals.
just tell my viewers because
the pedals. Read the book. My legs were on the pedals, and the pedals. Obviously, the explosion forced the pedals up and snapped both my ankles, and the car was on fire, and there was dust and everywhere, and the car had lifted off the ground, and the door was still open, and when it settled a little bit, I had a quick look outside to see if there was anyone coming. Couldn't do anything anyway. To be honest with you, what am I going to do? Start ducking bullets? But my instincts told me to get out, so I got out. Pulled myself out of the car, leaned on the door, held myself between the door and the roof. I saw a bloke, called him over, and he dragged me away. He got someone else, another guy pulled over, they picked me up.
Wow.
And put me in the middle of the fucking road.
In the middle.
I said, bro, do you think you can take me a little bit further up? They were nervous as fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like everyone was panicked.
A lot of people around while it happened.
Everyone was panicked. Like, I'm not tooting my horn, but I wasn't panicked. I knew what was going on. I was just,
Calm.
how are we going to get on with this?
Were you carrying a gun at all?
Can you fucking believe it? Because my kids, I put the gun away. That's why they blew me up, because I was known to carry.
Yeah.
Everyone knew I was tooled up. But what happened was probably about 4 weeks earlier, I carry a bag. My daughter went to go in my bag, and the last thing I want her to do is put a hand in and pull a trigger.
Yeah.
So I thought, I got her out. I took the bag off her and I put the gun in the safe. And that morning, actually, something happened in the gym that I noticed was a bit unusual with another patron, and I just made a mental note to start carrying my gun again. It was just strange how that whole morning unfolded. But my instincts told me to pull out my piece and start carrying it again.
Can you carry a gun around Greece? Is it something you're allowed to do? Or is it?
You just got to be mindful that if you get caught, you're going to get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
But I was a member of the gun club. I was like a degree away from getting my license.
Okay.
But, you know, everyone carries guns, bro. They carry fucking rocket launchers. Greece is very violent.
Yeah.
There's lots of blokes a lot of people get killed there. They pull up beside them, AK-47s, spray them for a minute, pull out their bit, open the door, let a few more go, then off they go.
Jeez.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Far out.
There's a lot of, I was not unique. Kids getting blown up, hand grenades, explosions, shot all the time. Greece is a bit backwards with technology. They don't have cameras.
Yeah.
The police force is a bit light because they don't pay much.
Okay.
The economy is still a bit tight.
Were you high profile over there? Like, were you noticed? Like, obviously around here, people know who you are. Over there, you're
Not really. But, I mean, they knew I was a tourist. They knew I was a gangster, and they knew I had money.
Yeah.
Driving, you know, 150,000 on a car. always had £500 or €500 notes and, you know, the things I don't like, but that's what I had. What do you do?
Yeah.
And I always had visitors, people from internationals. Whenever they came through, I would host them. Just, you know. So I wasn't a menace, and I wasn't in anyone's face, but I existed, and I was seen.
Yeah.
But I had no problem with the police. I mean, there were a lot of articles after I got blown up, and they all said the same thing. Not on the radar, always with his kids, always well-mannered, never a problem.
I remember it here when it was every channel was covering it.
It was big news.
Huge news, yeah.
Yeah, it was big news.
Wow.
It's unusual to get blown up and survive.
So you had to go and have surgery. You went to a hospital in Greece, and you weren't confident with that. I remember listening on a podcast.
No, they took me to a public hospital, the ambulance.
Yeah.
And it took me, lucky my boys found me really quick. And they just cleaned me up, did a really bodgy patch-up job, and I'd already arranged to go to a private hospital. And the main surgeon, who was actually a really good surgeon, he came in to tell me that amputate my leg. And, you know, when he said it didn't sound like such a good idea. And I said, no, we're not going to do that. And he goes, well, we are. You are, because you're going to get infected. I said, bro, I'm out. He said, you're going to get infected. Look at this hospital. It's 100 years old. And he was right. There was dust on the window.
Jesus.
And I said, no, I'm out. I'm going to a private. And when he'd heard that, he said, oh, you need to wait till tomorrow. He wanted to clean it up properly now because he knew other surgeons were going to see it.
Yeah.
So I stayed another night, or that first night, and the next morning he performed surgery and he cleaned it up. He done a really good job, man. Then I went private, and rest is history.
And then you come back to Melbourne.
I came back during COVID because they were going to shut the country down.
Yep.
And I was just scared that...
So you still had your kids with you at that time?
No, the kids came straight back to Sydney with their grandmother.
Okay.
And they were staying with their grandmother.
Yeah.
And their mother. And I was scared I was going to be shut out of the country. I couldn't have access to my kids if something went wrong.
Yeah.
And even though I was overseas, I'm still only 14 hours away. Jump on a plane, you wake up, I'm here.
Yeah.
So I thought, I was in Colombia at the time. I thought, fuck this. I flew to Spain to Sydney, and just got in. Had to do 2 weeks in a quarantine, which was a bit unorganised. We used to sneak out every day. So,
you would have done quarantine standing on your head. Easy.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to go see my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, quarantine is a fucking room service.
Yeah.
The quarantine, bro. It's a fucking timeout.
Yeah. So from the surgery, is there anything that you still deal with now on your body?
No, I'm good, bro.
Everything's good.
No, I'm good as gold.
Yeah. I mean, you look fit.
Yeah.
Fit as fuck.
Yeah, no, I still train.
Yeah. How often do you train?
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Weights, cardio.
Cardio, weights, a bit of boxing.
Yeah. You look like you're still in your 40s. I mean,
thanks.
Young guy.
I'm available. No, I'm kidding.
So what's life like now? What do you do now?
Life's amazing,
Obviously writing a book. Now you said you wrote the book. so a reporter didn't write one, which is a great idea.
Well, yeah.
Do you think it's drawn more attention to yourself having a book out, or
Bro.
do people get upset like in that life?
No, not at all. No. I mean, like, no, not at all. I think for this book has just been a bit of an equaliser.
Yeah.
The kids get to read my version of events rather than the media's version of events, and something
which they would have seen, obviously.
Oh, yeah, Google, yeah, for sure. Yeah, the SCAT.
Yeah.
And look, it's a light read. It's not a real deep dive into the underworld, but there's some experiences there that I'm sure people will enjoy.
Oh yeah, it's like I said, it took me 2 nights to get through it, and I'll probably go back and read it again because I was making a lot of notes for this. So, so the consultant, and why is it called the consultant? Obviously, because what you did with the mining.
What happened was when I was working for these mining companies, they're public companies. So whenever they would request me or talk about me, they were too scared to say my name because you have to stay arm's length. They can't be associated with anyone in the underworld or a bike club or whatever because it tarnishes the company. So they gave me that title. They just called me the consultant. Can you tell the consultant to come to Dubai, or can the consultant?
It's a great name.
Yeah. So we used that as a working title, and the publisher, Penguin Random, liked it, so they kept it. I mean, great publishers.
Oh, definitely.
They're the best in the world. So I'm very lucky to be with them, to be honest with you.
And what was it like writing the book?
It was good. It was a lot of fun. Like I do it in the mornings, take half a modafinil, cup of coffees, and
sit there and write it.
Off we go.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that's on all websites. I'm going to put a link up to for people to buy it because, like I said, it's just a great read. I think I said before we started, you've got this knack for taking someone into a story. Like you feel like you're there. It's unbelievable.
Thank you.
And even with your interviews that you do as well, like you actually feel like you're there when you're telling the story.
Thanks.
So yeah, I'd love to see this as a series. It'd be great.
Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Could be all systems go next year. See how we go.
Definitely. Do you miss the life? Like, are you still in the life? Like, when I say the life, like, I mean,
I'm entrenched in the underworld.
You'll always be known as
all my mates are gangsters.
Yeah.
So I see people often, and I really enjoy their company.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like-minded people, but I don't play up.
You're a good boy.
Squeaky.
So what's plans for next year?
Next year?
2025.
Well, hopefully it will be something to do with this book.
Yeah.
So we're just talking to some people at the moment, and this could evolve into something big.
Amazing.
See how we go.
It's been an absolute pleasure, absolute honour to have you here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, to talk to you. And like I said, I learned a lot I knew about you back, even before I was doing this back in the day, and obviously just from the media. But yeah. You said to me back then I'd be sitting here with you to have a chat.
You would never have picked that.
Never have believed it.
If you had asked me, said to me 2 years ago, you can do a podcast, I would have said, fuck off.
You've done a few podcasts. How do you find them? Do you enjoy?
Well, because it's personal, it's just me and you. It's okay. I don't mind them at all. We're just having a good chat. And, I don't mind talking about things that I've experienced and sharing them.
And I mean, you did Neil Mitchell. Like he takes no prisoners. That guy. He's a great. I mean, he's a great interviewer. How was it for you?
I think he took it easy on me. That was the first.
I felt that he went a bit hard on me.
I really like Neil.
Yeah.
I like these questioning. That was my first. I was very nervous.
Oh, that was your first one?
That was my first one. Oh. So I was actually. I'm not really. This is not my go.
Yeah.
But I really like Neil a lot. I really enjoyed being on his show, and a lot of respect for the man.
Yeah.
He asks a lot of good questions, relevant questions.
And I mean, he was entrenched in the underworld back in the day. Like with his morning show, he was interviewing everyone about it. I mean, he knew a lot.
He knows the topic, bro.
Yeah.
He's got a huge fan base. I really respect him.
Yeah.
I'd do Neil Mitchell any day. I mean, I'd be on his show. It's an honour to be on his show, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was a great fucking interview. Neil Mitchell, bro. I mean,
no, if no one's listened to it, go and listen because it was a great interview. I listened to it myself, and I felt that he asked some hard questions, and
I did all right, I think.
No, you did well.
Yeah,
you did well.
Yeah,
it's been an absolute pleasure, Jay. Thank
Thanks
you so much.
I really appreciate it.
It's been amazing.